Function 4 requires one vertical asymptote, a horizontal asymptote at y equals 3/2, one hole that is also the x-intercept, and a y-intercept that can be the hole. I created the equation y equals 3x squared minus 10x plus 25 thirds over 2x squared plus 11 thirds x minus 35 thirds. This function factors to y equals 3x minus 5 times x minus 5 thirds over 2x plus 7 times x minus 5 thirds. In the end, this function will have one vertical asymptote at x equals negative 7/2, a horizontal asymptote at y equals 3/2, a hole at 5 thirds 0, an x-intercept at 5 thirds 0, and a y-intercept at 0, negative 5/7. To find my hole, I set what canceled out in the factored equation equal to 0. X minus 5 thirds occurs in both the numerator and the denominator, so that's what cancels out. I let that equal 0, so x minus 5 thirds equals 0. I solve for x, so I add 5 thirds to both sides, and x equals 5 thirds, which is my x-coordinate. And then I let 5 thirds equal x in the factored equation, so y equals 3 times 5 thirds minus 5 over 2 times 5 thirds plus 7. I get 0 over 31 thirds, and that's just 0, so my hole is at 5 thirds 0. To find my vertical asymptote, I set the denominator of my simplified equation equal to 0, so 0 equals 2x plus 7. I subtract 7 from both sides, and then I divide by 2, so x equals negative 7/2, and my vertical asymptote is x equals negative 7/2. My horizontal asymptote I find by finding the largest exponent in my equation and then dividing top by bottom. So 3x squared over 2x squared, x squared is the largest exponent that I have in my equation, and the coefficients of those are 3 over 2, so I have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 3/2. I then find my x-intercept by letting y equal 0. 0 equals 3x minus 5 over 2x plus 7. I multiply 2x plus 7 by both sides to get 0 equals 3x minus 5. I add 5 to both sides to get 5 equals 3x. Divide by 3 to get 5 thirds equals x. So my x-intercept is 5 thirds 0. I then find my y-intercept by letting x equal 0. Y equals 3 times 0 minus 5 over 2 times 0 plus 7. Y equals negative 5/7. So my y-intercept is over 0 down 5/7. I then graphed my equation. I drew my coordinate plane, and I drew my arrows, and then I also labeled my axes. I then drew my asymptotes. I have a vertical asymptote at negative 7/2, so I drew a vertical dashed line at negative 7/2, and I drew my horizontal asymptote as a dashed line at y equals 3/2. And then I plotted my x-intercept of 5 thirds 0 and my y-intercept of 0, negative 5/7. I also drew my hole, so where my x-intercept is, there's an open dot to represent that my x-intercept is also my hole. And then I used my graphing calculator to find convenient points for me to plot. And I drew arrows on my line, and I made sure that my intervals were labeled on both axes. I again used one for the x-axis and one for the y-axis.